Good morning, everyone. Let's start with our daily market commentary. So, as the election is basically nearby, so the big event is there. Let's start from the global view and let us understand, is there any relation which is happening on follow-up happening on Nifty or Bank Nifty. The first thing is you try to always see SPX. So the first important part of SPX, S&P 500, is basically the weekly chart. And what we see again on the weekly chart, where we had reiterated that good amount of support have been taken around the previous swing highs. And the most important was it also went below this level, so which was very crucial. But there was a sharp recovery which took place. Now this recovery was basically beyond imagination, because it was too fast and it basically went up one way right from the bottom, and the only reason was Fed changing the interest rate stance, right? So that was the first and the foremost reason why the big changes basically happened on S&P. Now try to always understand, after a huge follow-up of downside, when you have such a big rally taking place all the way up, so this was a huge sell-off which took place, sustained above this, went around here, which was again a huge resistance level. Now this is a weekly chart, so it was huge resistance level, took some breather over here and again bounced back to all-time high. Now it's very clear that when you have such a big rally, there might be some kind of sell-off at the upper end. Now try to understand, the sell-off is happening at all-time high, right? And the bad news is also taking place. Now things are already known, and these traffic rules and all these trade wars will happen and will take place. But for us, we need to basically understand the bigger downside, is it intact or not, right? So when I'm seeing on the monthly chart, after the huge sell-off, the buying took place and it tried to sustain above 2782 kind of level. Now this is very, very crucial for us. And more or less, if you see the rise and then a follow-up selling is taking place. Now all I am understanding is one of the biggest pattern, when you have buying making all-time high and selling happening from all-time high. This is very, very crucial, and it's now very clear that after this sell-off, the month end, which is basically the end of May, and the election month is also going to go out, we need to understand whether it will sustain and start recovering on the upside. If it sustains over here in this zone, right, so probably around, you can say 2800 to 2850 to 2800 kind of zone, it should sustain and start recovering, taking a U-turn. If that happens, you are basically looking for a very big rally on the upside. And please understand, on back of bad news, big rallies always take place. So don't try to underestimate saying that now the trade war is out and nothing will happen, S&P will go down. Yes, it has gone down for the entire month. That is very, very clear. And it has taken small bounce from the lows as well. But please understand, on back of bad news, when many shorts will basically get into the system, you might see a recovery upside as well. Now, the only point which one has to understand, after a huge rise, there will be some selling which will take place. So that we are already ready for that. And I need to basically now understand that 2800 is basically getting saved or not, right? So for us, we'll keep an eye on 2800 kind of zone, where you have green candle followed by red candle, and if it starts sustaining this and below this, then you have a bigger downside again all the way, because the rise was faster, the fall will also be faster. So that is very, very clear for us. From the global point of view, 2800 becomes make or break level from monthly point of view, and same obviously will be seen from weekly stance as well, right? So that's the view coming out from SPX. Right, so if you see even on weekly chart, there has been multiple resistance, then it became support, zoomed up, came back again, taking support in this range. And again, the point which I was trying to say, red candle, then green candle, tried to sustain and zoomed up. Right, so this range where again the rally took place after the red candle came through was 2750. So more or less on the weekly and monthly range is very clear, 2750 to 2850. Right, 100 points range, which is very, very crucial now for S&P 500. Now earnings were not that very good on S&P 500, so that also basically gives a dampener. But since the Fed will not increase interest rates coming next meeting, let's see what happens, and it can again give a boost on the upside. Now let's go and see on Nifty and Bank Nifty what exactly has taken place. Now one thing, because of S&P going down, and if you see the S&P from weekly chart, the high was roughly around the end of April or 1st of May, you can say, and then 2 weeks downside has come on S&P. When I see Nifty as well, so small candles almost consolidating at the top, suddenly opens the gap down, tries to go and meet almost the low which was there, and then sharp downside comes through. Now it's very clear, please understand, that this downside has come because of S&P, but more importantly, please understand, the rise has also happened very fast, and you have a big event which is coming through, and that's why little bit of sell-off is always on the lines or on the cards, which should also be considered. Now what we need to again see for Nifty, let's go to the monthly chart and let's understand the bigger viewpoint on Nifty as well. If you see Nifty, it's been little different from S&P. It's been on a rise. Okay, again it took a rise, came back down, and kind of making your head and shoulder pattern. But more than that, the most important thing which we are seeing over here, it also made all-time high. Right, so there was a huge rise that took place, and this was also very fast because the fall was faster. It went almost sideways, right, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. So it's around 5 months of consolidation and a huge rally taking place. So one thing was very clear, that this rally was very, very fast. And why was it fast? Because the fall was faster. Now, apart from this, what we are also understanding, on the top, trying to reverse and now trying all the way down. So before the election momentum sets to kick in, our most important level is 10,850. Why 850? Because this was the point where a huge green Moribazu was in set. Now also there are many resistance around this line, so 11,000 also becomes a huge supporting point for Nifty. So where we have big support lines for Nifty, one is like the 11,000 zone, which is acting like a good support line. So this is also very good. Second is the base of this Moribazu, 10,850. And if the election volatility kicks in, we have a downside spike almost reaching out towards 10,000 or so. So it's very, very clear. If you see on monthly side, on the bottom side, many times this 10,000 has been tested. Okay, a good sell-off can result and come down to 10,000 very easily. Now these candles were very, very weak. Okay, so that is very important. After the weak candles which were there, the most important was a huge upside which comes in, and after this, if it sustains below this, a downside can also be possible. So election things going not in favor. Okay, so let's say even if majority doesn't come, which is the common consensus, everybody is understanding that yes, majority will not come, but there can be a spike on the downside, right, since majority has not come. So this spike, when it comes down, always look for a big reversal happening once again. So if you have a red candle following another red candle or so, entering into this zone where you can see a quick reversal happening, because again the majority has not come, but if end of the day ND or BJP makes it to the throne, it's very clear that this fall which will happen will be taken out very easily. So two things to understand. S&P, we are always figuring out whether these levels are broken or not, and is he taking support on the downside. If he takes a U-turn over here, please understand, and if Modi ji comes back and there is a spike, it will take a huge U-turn all of a sudden, right? So two things to keep in mind. One is our election agenda and this zone on the downside, and it's very clear because these candles are weak. Obviously, it can be taken out very easily on the downside, and multiple level of support has come around this 10,000 level. And why this is very, very crucial, 10,830, which becomes the base of Moribazu, from where the entire rally started, right? So this is a huge support zone, number one, and election volatility can bout and bring it down to 10,100 kind of zone, but there will be a huge reversal that will take place, provided that yes, Modi ji is coming. Second, also S&P taking the reverse stance, right? So two things will basically bring Nifty back to all-time high, right? So two things are important. Modi ji, even if it is not coming with full majority, but 10,000 should come, and we should look for buying call option. And second is S&P running in this zone, making a U-turn, right? So that's a very clear view, which we can have a trading view on this month because of election. Now let's also understand what's happening on Bank Nifty, and things were very clear on Bank Nifty as well. As we see on the monthly basis, this was the red candle, or you can say the red Moribazu, which was formed, right? And why was it very, very important? Because after this, it went down, it again consolidated many times around this level. And the last rally, if you see, it sustained almost in this zone, okay, and then it basically triggers a huge upside. Now, the most important part of this was the red Moribazu. The base was basically taken out over here, and now this can become a support. But more than that, a good green Moribazu kicked in. So we have now a good support zone for Bank Nifty, okay, again entering in this zone. More or less, the important part of Bank Nifty, which is acting like support, is 27,000 or 26,900 zone. So this is again a huge important level for Bank Nifty as well. Now it can come down. That's why we are seeing a huge rally took place, and that's where you are seeing a downside momentum also kicking in very fast. Now you are entering into an election mode or kind of volatility. People would want to be on the sideline, volume would be low, and then you have S&P 500 also cracking. So all that has given us good insight of good follow-up downside, and there was a good rise, and that's why the fall is also happening very fast. Now most important to understand here, once the fall happens, for us again, as we are thinking for Nifty, we have again for Bank Nifty around this level, it should take some kind of support, which is again the base of Moribazu. Now, because of the volatility and downside, you can also see Bank Nifty clicking almost towards 24,000 to 25,000 zone. So this is where we should look for our buying agenda. Now try to understand, many people want to enter over here, okay, trying to look for a pre-election rally or something like that. Please do not try to catch that pre-election rally, because what will happen by the time 19th, the polls are going to be out from all the medias. It might give you different variety of answers, and if they say that majority is not coming and it becomes difficult for NDA to come, you can see the next. So Sunday is going to be out on 21st or 20th or so. You can see a huge downside coming your way. So don't hurry in to make a trade. Please understand. The most important is to wait for this level, right? What is happening over here? And because of the spike, is it opening down or zooming down? Then is it taking a reversal from these legs? Now, please understand, when it gets stretched on the downside, major support is also there. And then if you get gap down bullish or a reversal coming over here, always go for call option. The risk reward will be huge, and you don't have to hold the options for long, and you can be in and out very, very fast. Right? So 2 days trade can give you like 24,000, 25,000 straight away towards 27, 28,000 on the upside. So 3,000 points in 2 days is very, very possible. Right? And that too, please do it in options. Don't try to get into futures. Correct? Same way we are trying to go for Nifty as well. Now, because of Nifty, you can see Bank Nifty can give you much more chances. Why? Because it's going down, it can go down till here, spike can reach almost here, and then it can zoom very, very fast. But on Nifty, the problem here is, first, huge support zones are coming in, right? So it might take little time to slide down almost to 10,000. So here the range is again very, very clear, 10,000 to 10,200, or you can say 10,300, which was the previous multiple lows were made. And this is where we should look for our reversal trend. So let things get stretched out. Okay, let pessimism comes into place. So let's say all the media says the final result that for majority is not coming, and even for alliance, if he wants to make it, Modi ji coming back might take a tougher stand to come back. Because of that, it will get stretched, right? And that means they are pricing in Modi ji is not coming back, or difficulty is there for him to come back. And then you will see, if he comes, there will be a bout of surprise upward rally, and please understand, it will make all-time high. So it will not stop here, it will just go all-time high. All I need is support from SPX, not breaking this barrier of 2750 and 2800. Now the best part was, all this trade war agenda which was there came before election. If it would have come after election, then it would have been again another drama which would have taken place, and whatever we are trying to understand wouldn't have taken place. So that's very important for us, that all those drama is out. Let us wait for our good unique levels at 10,000 kind of zone, and pessimism, everybody thinking that Modi ji might not come, and then you can see a good round of risk reward in your trade. So even if you do not trade this election, very good. If you get a very good chance to trade, then you get in. Otherwise, try to be away from the market, because going out after May, you will get much better chance. As I'm telling you, if it takes a U-turn over here, it will make a huge upside rally. And please understand, when you're seeing from the monthly side, as I've always told prior as well, if it takes support over here in the higher range, you will see the last leg of bull run, right? So the global market on S&P, you will be seeing last leg of bull run if it sustains over here and then it tries to break the all-time high. And this has always happened prior as well. If you see over here multiple times, one time, then second time, then third time, then it sustained and then it zoomed up. So this kind of rally is what we are anticipating on S&P, and same can be anticipated on Nifty. So Modi ji coming back, people thinking that he might not come, bringing him all the way down towards 10,300, reversal, all-time high. And after this, when Modi ji is back, that rally might continue for another 5 to 10% kind of range. So you can see almost Nifty hitting towards 13,000, 13,500 in one go. So try to take that kind of trade rather than getting in, getting out in this whipsaw, which doesn't make sense at all, right? So that's very, very clear from S&P, Nifty, and Bank Nifty. Now let's just take from standpoint what is happening on crude and the dollar index as well. So crude had gone up, then you had some kind of downside which was also coming in place. Now our agenda was this entire breakout happened over here, and we had already anticipated that a good up move will take place. But after that, when we see selling pressure is kicking in, but the selling pressure is not able to sustain on the downside. So this was a huge selling which comes through. Then he again tried to go down, but what's happening? He's trying to reverse all the lost trends which were there, right? So now he's trying to pick up strength. So there is very, very clear that the range for crude will be on the higher side, not on the lower side. And on the lower side also, it's very clear this was the breakout range, which was basically 68.2 or so. It came down almost around this zone and then again trying to hit on the higher side. So this can spike up oil almost towards the previous high which was there. Okay, it can come back towards those zones because it is killing out all the candles which are of lost strength, right? So that's the view on oil. So oil is not very good for India, at least, because the trend is more on the upside rather than on the downside. So that's pretty much aligned, but a huge upside is not there because it's already clicking around 72, 75 is hardly like 3 to 5%. That's normal, right? So that's not going to be a very dangerous move. So DXY, after the US Fed changing the stance on interest rates, what we see is dollar should become weak, but there is no sign of weakness. Just see what's happening over here. After a good sell-off taking place over here, it's trying to go up again sell-off taking place over here, trying to go up again sell-off taking place, and then again trying to inch higher. So there is no mood of downside on dollar. Okay, so if dollar is not going to become weak, then we need to see USD INR. So USD INR is not going to become 68 or 63 or so. And if you see USD INR, there is a clear signal when this sharp downside took place. Multiple times support happened over here, sustained over here, selling took place, very nice over here, and just see what's happening. There is no round of downside. After this good selling which took place, still there is buying. So there is a clear signal that USD INR going forward in next month or so, since we are seeing the weekly chart, there's a clear agenda that USD INR will click towards 71 to 71.5. And dollar index is taking its own stand. Crude is a little bit on the higher side, and you are also seeing USD INR clicking towards 71.5. Now please understand, when this rally takes place, obviously the IT stocks will go up, right? So you can basically look for when there is good amount of volatility because of election, always try to focus on IT stocks. It's very clear they'll get the best benefits because of the USD INR, and the results of TCS was very good. Tech Mahindra was very good. So you can look at those kind of stocks to basically play out stock basis rally. Now coming down to Bank Nifty, we are clear. Now let's take some stocks as we are talking about IT stocks. So let's talk about IT, TCS and Infosys and Tech Mahindra, those stocks which have given good results, and that will be good stocks to trade when there is good amount of downside or volatility. Now what we see again, as I was saying, just see making new lifetime high, almost inching towards lifetime high. So that shows inherent buying strength is there in TCS. Now because of volatility, this might zoom down, but that will be a good trigger to basically look for good trades on the downside. So TCS basically has a very good downside intact. Over here, the last rally took place, sustaining above all these highs. It might spike down towards 2000 and then again hit all-time high. So I'm seeing TCS hitting all-time high very fast, right? So, and we need to look at the buying pattern at the downside zone and straight away towards all-time high. So TCS is very good. And the bigger guy, even TCS and Infosys, if you see even on Infosys, what's happening? All-time high, waiting on the sidelines, and this is already a corrected kind of stocks and almost coming down to the support, and then again you can see Infosys also hitting all-time high. So that's very clear that USD INR getting support, Modi ji coming back, in Nifty zooming higher, IT will play a huge role. So Infosys and TCS will help Nifty to inch all-time high. So that's very clear from the IT side. Now let's take the bank. So you have the HDFC Bank, right? So the HDFC twins which are there, and what we see on HDFC is phenomenal. What is there is because after the huge rally, just see the huge sell-off which is taking place on Nifty or Bank Nifty, this guy is not moving at all, right? It's been consolidating at the higher levels. So you need to look at these kind of stocks. Even if the fall happens, it can spike down very fast, but the reversal will take place towards all-time high. So what I'm seeing over here, the good stocks are almost at its all-time high. Even after a huge sell-off, try to understand these stocks are not going down. And these are the heavyweights. Now HDFC Bank is at the top, so that's very good. Let's take ICICI, which is another heavyweight of Bank Nifty. And what we see on ICICI, the results were not that good. It went almost towards the high, and now selling pressure creeps in. Now the Bank Nifty is down because of ICICI Bank, right? And we'll check also the Axis Bank and stuff. But one thing is very clear, good selling has taken place already. It might bring him down almost towards these level of 353 to 336. Then ICICI Bank also becomes a good agenda player for basically stock basis rally. So even ICICI, if it gets in the correction mode, it's also then set entering in the support zone, bringing support to Bank Nifty. So one thing is clear, Bank Nifty doesn't have bigger upside because HDFC Bank has no move to go down. ICICI Bank seems so. Let's see the Axis Bank story. Axis Bank recent results were out, and that's why you're seeing a huge rally is not taking place on the downside, right? So it went up slowly, went consolidated, and here also it went down slowly. So ICICI Bank went down faster than Axis Bank. So the second guy whom we should vouch for is Axis Bank. So here we can see the last rally happened from the base of 685 or so, or you can say the support zone of 650 or so. So kind of volatility, two stocks from bank side would be Axis Bank and HDFC Bank. Now obviously Kotak Bank has been performing phenomenal, and what we see on Kotak Bank, again all-time high. So all I'm trying to understand, the big stocks which are there, they have no move to go down even in this sell-off, right? So people are thinking there is a huge sell-off which is happening, actually not. If you see on the hindsight, things are not looking that murky, right? So HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, Axis Bank, all are near its highs. Yes, the spike can come, but the rise will come faster, right? And these heavyweights, if they are intact, nothing will happen wrong on Nifty. So you have now bank side, ICICI, Kotak, Axis, seemingly performing well. Let's take the other stocks. So you have L&T, Reliance, ITC. Now L&T has undergone a good kind of correction already. The results were not that bad, but yes, the order flows were still intact. They were coming through, and what we have seen is smaller candles taking out all the candles, inching towards low. So one thing is again good from L&T point of view, that the stock has also corrected a bit. So that's good point, and this also seems to be perfect. Correction has taken place. Now you have ITC, which is one of the biggest guy. All the FMCG stocks have not posted good results. Now please understand, the consumption story will start again after monsoon. So if monsoons are good enough, again the consumption stocks will start going up, because that is the next round of earnings which will come through. And based on that also, if you see on the higher side, it came down, and now it is taking support around this zone. And obviously for Nifty to go down, he has more room on the downside. So ITC can be a culprit to bring Nifty on the lower side. But Bank Nifty seems to be very, very strong. Correct? So Bank Nifty seems strong. And you also have FMCG, which might pull out a trigger on the downside. Hind Unilever, which is also there. The other FMCG, what we see, all-time high, getting support, trying to rule on the higher side, again came back down. Right? So it also, the volume growth was not there this time on HUL. The results were flat. And that's where we are seeing a good kind of correction over here as well. So one thing is now very clear, FMCG is not going to help us. IT stocks is going to help us. and you're also having bank on your side. So bank and IT will be phenomenal to trade. FMCG, we should wait for monsoon to clear up, and then you should look at FMCG stocks. Auto obviously have been butchered a lot. So let's say Maruti, which is one of the heavyweights of Nifty, and you can see a new lows coming through Maruti, right? So these are like decade low numbers which are coming through of sales and stuff like that, and that's why you're seeing a good downside on Maruti as well. And the rise was also was very fast. It came down, but please understand all the bad news are in the price. So it might give you a sharp bounce back, but you can see Maruti not be hitting new lows over here. Good stock to look at is Motherson Sumi, right? Why I would suggest Motherson Sumi is it's a phenomenal stock from the base. If you see, it's like a B2B player, supplier to Maruti. From 100, it zoomed almost to 250 or so, and the zoom was very fast. And because Maruti is down, and this guy is making new lows, okay? And this was a good upside which took place around 130, and that is also out. This will come around this 100 zone, okay? And Nifty basically, till the auto stocks do not pull out, this stock will not go up. So this can be a good revenue getter when the auto stocks starts turning up. But you can basically look at SIP, more amazing stock to look at, and one of the good auto ancillary among all the other stocks. So it's like a market leader in auto ancillary. So keep an eye on Maruti, and then you can also keep an eye on Motherson Sumi. So you can play Motherson Sumi versus Maruti rather than Maruti. So coming back to this zone where you have now Reliance, the other guy, whether he's strong or not, and it's very clear. Just see there were some divergences here. If you see, it's been going higher all the way around. Okay, and if you see actually Nifty going down, the bigger culprit is Reliance, right? So it was almost at the all-time high. Many longs get built up, and this was very clear signal. Longs have got built up, and you have a certain sell-off taking place. Now it's very clear it is a good support zone for Reliance as well, right? So good sell-off has already taken place. It might again give you a nice sell-off over here, but it's very clear it will inch towards all-time high. So you have good stocks to vouch on if you want to trade even in options, right? So you have good trade in Nifty and Bank Nifty that can play out, and more than that, you have IT stocks right on the radar. So that should be on the top. That's number one. Number two, apart from IT stocks, you should look at Reliance, which has a good upside rally because the fall was faster. What will happen? It will sustain over here and it will zoom all the way up. So Reliance will help us. FMCG, ITC is not going to help us. You also have IT, which can help you. So IT, banks, and you have Reliance, right? So that's more than enough to sustain Nifty on the higher side. So downside is not there much for Nifty. And again, I'm trying to say, if it enters in 10,300 zone because of some predictions of election, and then you're coming towards the final showdown kind of stuff, please look for buying the spike on the downside, right? So please make sure that you have two brokerage accounts, one with discount broker and one with exclusive broker, so that the discount brokers are not off that day, right? So at least you can place your trade. So that's very, very important. So always I'm trying to say now we are looking out for a good risk reward on the downside, right? And that's good that 19th is going to be out, the media results, and then the final results will come through. So always look for the downside, a good follow-up on the upside. And the stock wise, it's very clear. We're looking at IT stocks, number one, and then number two, we are looking at banks, and then Reliance and L&T. So more or less all are in line. I do not see a bigger downside than 10,000 in Nifty. Unless, yes, Modi ji doesn't come back, then you have one bigger downside which is happening. Now, the only false thing which can happen on Nifty, Modi ji not coming back with majority, spike down towards 10,000. And then you have a good roundup rally towards all-time high. Modi ji has come back, right? Not with majority, but has come back. Now, the question comes, will it go higher than all-time high? So let's say 12,000 plus or so. It cannot have a huge rally on the upside. The reason here is this quarter earnings were not good, correct? Now that will take some time for a new bound of rally, right? So this downside can be taken out, can reach all-time high since Modi ji is back, and then you have a little correction again back down because earnings have not supported the rally. So this rally which will happen, then earnings are not on their side. And then crude hitting high, dollar hitting high might again bring them one time down. So everybody will again rejoice that yes, Modi ji has finally come back, and then suddenly what will happen? A fallout will take place. So be ready for that as well. So don't just get into euphoria. Let this go downside. Look for buy agenda. Let him make fresh 52-week high. Look for sell agenda, and then you can get good quality trades both on the buy side, both on the sell side. Why we are buying here? People are bearish. Why we will buy here? Why we will sell here? People are bullish, right? So trying to be on the opposite side. All the volatility will be out. So IVs will drop down. You will get premiums at lower levels, right? So that's how you should trade on options. Fine. Thank you very much for joining in, and I hope you do not trade much on towards the election day. So keep the powder dry, wait for your opportunity, and then you get it, right? So only trade 2 times, but trade nicely so that you can get good risk reward opportunities. Fine. So thank you very much for joining in.